veterans. You served your country honorably once while you wore the cloth of our nation. We are asking you to wear it again proudly as a member of the American Legion of Oklahoma. The American Legion is part of the nation's largest and most influential network of veterans, families, and communities, from budget hearings to baseball diamonds, from combat outposts to children's hospitals. Together, we make a difference. The American Legion provides life-changing assistance and guidance for veterans, military personnel, their families, and communities in thousands of ways each and every day around the world. Help comes in the form of personal assistance, cash grants, donated goods, disaster relief, labor, networking, volunteerism, and advocacy. The American Legion is for God and country, but the American Legion is also for you. Please contact a local post today.
Hey, Tokelahoma, it's Tracy.
And Larry Reed, the man on weed. And here we are on December 2nd, right?
Yes.
A wonderful afternoon we have here, beautiful outside. And we've got some awesomeness on the inside here. We've got Frank Urbanic, who is running for mayor for Tokelahoma City, baby!
Yes.
Hell yeah. So welcome, Frank.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Frank Urbanic. We've seen the signs, right? You've seen the signs. They're awesome out there. I see them on people's lawns and people with intelligence. That's where we find those signs. Tell us a little bit more about Frank Urbanic.
Yeah, so I'm a 22-year military vet. I actually just got back from my 4th combat deployment to the Middle East. I'm in the Air Force Reserve, so I fly in the AWACS squadron here at Tinker.
Well, thank you for your service.
Well, I appreciate the support. But I'm also an attorney. Kind of my claim to fame is that last year around this time, when our current mayor, David Holt, unlawfully shut businesses down using something called the Riot Control and Prevention Act, I took him to court on behalf of several businesses and individuals, and he backed down. 11 days later, we were able to remove the threat of arrest from countless workers in Oklahoma City, and we saved a lot of jobs, a lot of businesses. And he was threatening them with 6 months of jail for simply trying to earn a living. It was an outrageous abuse of power, and we were happy to have been successful.
Crushed him. And so besides that, what's your inspiration to go out and help change our living conditions here?
Well, so this lawsuit was a huge part of my inspiration to do this, because I just became so disgusted by Holt's abuse of power. He never had the authority to do this. And as this lawsuit went on, I got to know a lot more workers and business owners in the community. And I'm going, this mayor simply doesn't care about these people, and he didn't care which dads were no longer able to afford to pay the rent on their house to house their children, or the moms that were no longer able to pay for food for their kids. And so I said, Oklahoma needs somebody who actually cares about everybody in Oklahoma City, not and isn't going to look down on certain industries.
Right. And so everybody gets smart, everybody votes for you. First 100 days, like what do you have plans for Tokelahoma City here?
Yeah, so a lot of my plan it's a liberty agenda, and it's a change in mindset, and things like keeping Oklahoma City open. He's the mayor that shut us down. We're going to keep us open. We're going to respect police, defend, not defund. But with regards to specific things, I'm not a fan of the streetcar. I'm going to do everything I can to get rid of the streetcar named Disaster, because nobody rides these things. And it was sold to us as public transportation, but you look around, they're empty almost always, and we're spending at least $5 million a year. So want to get rid of those. And then we have other things such as in the Oklahoma City Municipal Court, and this is how it's related to marijuana. Right now, they are not allowing people who are on probation to consume cannabis. And they're saying it's a probation violation if they test positive for marijuana. And in my interpretation of the law and a lot of other people's interpretation of the law, that is a violation of the law, and I'm going to do what I can to fix that. keep open back up Oklahoma City government. I don't know if y'all have tried to get a police report within the last year and a half, or you've gone to City Hall or gone to the administration building, but they're all closed to the public. The City Hall and police department, they say they're being renovated. And I'm going, really? Both of these buildings for a year and a half at the same time?
They'll take your money for liquor permits.
Yeah, exactly. But no,
Court fees.
but you used to be able to walk into the police lobby, fill out your form, pay the money, and walk out with the police report. Now it's a weeks-long, if not months-long process to get these things. So that's another thing on my agenda item in the first however many days. And also this Riot Control and Prevention Act that David Holt used. It has some things in there that are not good. And one of them is, it says basically it has a list of the things a mayor can do during an emergency that he declares. And one of them, and it's some things like, can control the time and location of where people can be, can prevent Molotov cocktails. Okay, but then there's one that says basically he can do whatever he wants as long as it protects the health care of the safety of the people. No, we need to get rid of that. And there needs to be some checks on the mayor. And the city council needs the ability to terminate an emergency. It can't just be the mayor declaring an emergency and the mayor can terminate it. There needs to be some checks and balances.
No, I definitely agree with that. So I have to bring up something. So a lot of the cannabis industry, we're not pro-police or, we're like, yeah, police, okay. But one thing I think we can do is agree on is defending the police means not having them arrest people for victimless crimes, like using cannabis, right? Without just, oh, you don't have a card, I'm going to arrest you because you didn't pay the state, and then I'm going to put you in jail for 6 months. Like, do you think someone using cannabis should be behind jail for 6 months?
No, absolutely not. No. Okay. And thankfully, within the last, I don't know, however many years, I think it's gotten better, at least from what I've seen as a criminal defense attorney, right. That they're doing a lot of catch and release with a lot of things, and certainly some people getting arrested. And I've heard stories that they're just making people dump it out and not even writing a ticket for some people. Good. But obviously, I don't see those people. The only people I see are the people that got ticketed or got arrested. So I think there is a change in mindset that's going on, and that I think is beneficial. Of course, I'm for continuing to advance the cause to where nobody gets arrested for possession of it.
And I think that's part of our generation stepping up and saying, no, we're not okay with you arresting people for cannabis. We're not okay with you arresting people for this, and that we've grown up in a different place, and that we respect people for how they are as a person, as a human, versus other things that maybe the generations older than us kind of look at people. So in the interest of full disclosure, I don't smoke marijuana. I never have, and I do. But I've been in the military my entire adult life since I was 18. So I've had to deal with the possibility of random drug tests, which I've taken a lot of them. It's not worth losing my job over. But I've been pro pot since like forever, and so my friends call me the most pro pot, non-pot user that they know, because I see so many people that consume it. And I think a lot of people from maybe the older generation would be shocked to know how many doctors, lawyers, and other professionals are consuming this, and they're not having problems with it. And so even way back when I saw this, a lot of my friends that didn't end up, sticking needles in their arms, I'm going, this is ridiculous, and it needs to change. And I've done what I could in my capacity to change it. Big supporter of 788. Awesome. That's great to hear. And, I think our generation is giving up the bottle, which was accepted and okay and, made normal in society. And we're taking back our healthcare in the way that we see fit, whether it be physical fitness, whether it be cannabis. And here's the thing. The state shouldn't have a say in my medical decisions because I'm a grown-ass American woman.
There you go. So definitely you need to go over and follow frankurbanic.com for all of that kind of stuff. And you can follow him on Facebook at www.facebook.com/frankurbanic. And we're going to be right back with more of, hopefully, the future mayor of Oklahoma City, Frank Urbanic.
Oklahoma veterans. You served your country honorably once while you wore the cloth of our nation. We are asking you to wear it again proudly as a member of the American Legion of Oklahoma. The American Legion is part of the nation's largest and most influential network of veterans, families, and communities, from budget hearings to baseball diamonds, from combat outposts to children's hospitals. Together, we make a difference. The American Legion provides life-changing assistance and guidance for veterans, military personnel, their families, and communities in thousands of ways each and every day around the world. Help comes in the form of personal assistance, cash grants, donated goods, disaster relief, labor, networking, volunteerism, and advocacy. The American Legion is for God and country, but the American Legion is also for you. Please contact a local post today.
Hey, Tokelahoma, we are back and we have Frank Urbanic here, and he's running for Oklahoma City Mayor. Okay, so you were active duty Air Force, got out, went to law school, and can you tell me why you went to law school?
Yeah, so I'd always been a fan of the Constitution, constitutional conservative, supported Ron Paul back in the day.
So really a libertarian, because Ron Paul ran for president under the Libertarian Party in the 80s, guys.
And so I'm going, well, you know, I've supported the Constitution already in one way, in combat and in the Air Force. I want to take it to the next level, and just a big fan of protecting people's constitutional rights. And I think that kind of naturally led me to criminal defense. There's a lot of 4th, 5th, 6th Amendment rights that are at stake there. And I think I really found a good home doing that type of law.
Right, because a lot of people, like, the state treads on our rights all the time, and they don't have the education, they didn't have the opportunity to have that law degree. And so you're bringing it back, say, hey, actually, the state's treading on your rights, and this is why. Let me fight the state for you. And that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and that's an important point to bring up, is because, you know, I've represented a wide spectrum of people charged with crimes. And you have to make the distinction between, you know, supporting the crimes versus supporting the Constitution. And my fight is always for the Constitution. And, you know, some people are trying to say, oh, you know, he's represented this person and that person. But I'm certainly not advocating for those crimes.
Right.
I think that should go without saying, but maybe some people don't understand. I'm an advocate for the Constitution and ensuring my clients' constitutional rights are not violated. So if, you know, let's say my client was read their Miranda rights and they said, no, I'm not going to talk. And then the officer proceeds to continue questioning them, and we could have some suppression issues there. And so it's not a matter of, hey, you know, I want this person to commit the crime. It's that, hey, the state needs to act within the confines of the law, and it's holding the state to its burden.
Right.
As well.
And, you know, I think that's something good that the Air Force does, is we audited everything. There were checks and balances like you were talking about. We have to do those checks. We have to do those audits on, you know, the people with the money, the people with the power. And I think that's so important that veterans come home and they serve their local communities, because we know these things, we see these things, and we believe in the Constitution. And really, you know, really you're a liberty activist,
Yes.
a servant leader, but you've managed to find a way to support your family and feed your family, and now you want to keep continuing your journey. And, you know, that's great, because you're going to be the next OKC mayor.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate all the support and helping me get that way.
Yes.
And that's hell yes. What Tracy said. So there's a bunch of different issues that go on there. One of the big issues during the election this time is one of the hot buttons all over the country is education, and so the history of Oklahoma education is not very shiny, and a lot of the people I know. In Virginia, it was a big thing about people determining whether they can educate their children the way they want them to, homeschooling and things like that. Like, how do you see that working out for Oklahoma City?
Well, so my position is that parents should be able to control the healthcare and education of their children. That being said, what the mayor can actually do with regards to education. He's not in charge of the school district, okay? So it's separate. So can't actually control what the school says, but the mayor can be an advocate and can make their position known and make their beliefs clear. And this is dealing with school issues is something that I and my wife are very familiar with. Is that, I don't know if you remember, we had COVID last year and the schools were,
Yes.
they shut down the schools. So in Edmond Public Schools, our kids were going 2 days a week. And so my wife and I were going to public school board meetings, and we were on the news. We had posters and everything. Open back up public schools. So I have been an advocate for parental
Awesome.
rights
Thank you.
for quite some time. So these things, it's not like I came up with this for the election.
Right. No, you're just being a servant leader and doing what's right. And, you're continuing that oath that you took. And, it's important because, again, all veterans are like this. We all believe in this, and we all just need to start stepping up locally because we can change things. Our voice matters. It counts, and we have the receipts to go with it. You have 22 years of service to your country. So if you can serve your country, you can serve your city for sure.
Yeah, and bring up another great point is that it doesn't matter, if how much you do, just do something.
Yes.
Okay, voting is obviously one
Yes,
thing
very
you can
important.
do, and especially in this election, this is a very low turnout election, especially considering
February
how many
8th, right?
February 8th, and the Thursday and Friday prior to that is early voting.
All right.
So your votes count, let's say, a lot more than in like a presidential election or something.
Yes.
But beyond that, there's so many other ways that people can help out. We have an army of people that are helping us right now. That's why I feel so great about this campaign. But we're door knocking. We're getting materials in the hands of voters. People making phone calls. Signs are being put up. We have 100 4x8 mini billboards. We're
I've
putting
seen them
those
all
up.
around the city. I smile every time.
and we have teams of people doing that, and even if you want to do it just one time, hey, that's something. You are helping advance the cause of liberty in whatever capacity you help our campaign. Donations, of course, is what fuels the campaign, because we can have all the volunteers in the world, but if we don't have money to get into their hands to give to people or signs to put up, then the campaign goes nowhere. And thankfully, we've been doing well so far, and we can always use more. FrankUrbanic.com is the best place to do that.
Yes. I
There
love
you
to
go.
hear it.
So, on that note, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
Hempire Genetics is a advanced research program set forth under the 2018 Oklahoma Industrial Hemp Pilot Program, overseen by Northwestern Oklahoma State University. A lot of farmers reach out to us. They've heard about what we're doing and are interested and want to know what they've had growing on their land since they were kids. Oklahoma is very diverse in its weather system, and so these plants have adapted over the last several hundred years to withstand that. A lot of it was brought here by the U.S. Department of the Interior back as part of Hemp for Victory. Hemp for Victory was brought about with the loom of the coming World War. We knew that we were going to have to produce a very large amount of hemp to rig the ships for their sailing, for their ropes, for their anchors, also clothing, sailors' hats, our flags. Everything was made from hemp. Marijuana wasn't made illegal until 1969. The USCSA classed marijuana in with other dangerous narcotics such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines. The campaign to slander cannabis began back in the 20s, mainly with William Randolph Hearst and the paper mills. Then that transgressed into big oil. Later in the 30s and 40s, really gained steam. By late 1937, the Congress passed the Marijuana Tax Act, which grouped industrial hemp in with marijuana. After that, they gave the differentiated names, hemp, marijuana. While farmers were still allowed to grow, taxes were raised so heavily that it made it difficult, especially for lower income farmers. In 1940, when Hemp for Victory came to Oklahoma, they actually used Oklahoma as a test plot. Several genetics were shipped in from all around the world to see what would grow best on American soil, since Oklahoma has such a diverse climate. And it's very hard to find a lot of documentation on that. We know there was a lot of places, obviously, that were involved, or we wouldn't be finding cannabis in every county in Oklahoma. Hempire Genetics, sowing the seeds of the past to grow a better future for everyone. Visit us at HempireGenetics.com or on our social media pages at Hempire Genetics.
Yeah, blow back online, they this ain't GTA. I need to know what's the ETA. I had to hustle, I don't know no easy way.
Hey, Tokelahoma, it's Tracy, and we have Frank Urbanic here, and he is running for OKC mayor. And you have an event coming up here in December. What is it?
We do. It's Diapers for Dads. It's going to be at Stone Sisters Pizza. That's the kickoff event, and it's going to be on the 12th of this month.
All right, and you are also going to be, there's a competition. So there's 3 people bringing in diapers, and it's Joe Lewis for District 88, Natalie Bruno for governor, and then you running for OKC mayor. So you're not only being a liberty activist, but you're also working with other people who are trying to bring liberty into our state.
Right, and this is what's so great about liberty, is because liberty doesn't know political parties. It doesn't know skin color, gender, all the things. And I think a liberty message is what can bring people together, or liberty, period. Because you look at what we did with the lawsuit against Holt, and the jobs that we saved, the people that we helped black people, white, everything. And so liberty basically applied equally to everybody there. And I think that's what can bring us together. That's why this is such a great event.
No, and it helped the person who couldn't pay the rent, and it helped the person who has 5 or 6 houses. And it doesn't matter how much money you have as a person. When we fight for liberty, we're fighting for your freedom from the state. We don't care what you do with it, as long as you're not like hurting someone else. But that's what we fight for, is not allowing the state to tread on your rights.
Right, and I think also tying it into this diaper drive is basically not imposing something like this on people, right? And this is a very liberty mindset effort, because we're saying, all right, community, let's come together and help these people voluntarily, instead of saying, I want diapers and I want you to pay for them. Exactly. Taking money from one person to pay for the other. No, this is a voluntary thing on everybody's part to help the community.
Yes. And dads are hurt really bad in the court systems within the state. And I'm a huge, I believe in co-parenting. I've been doing it 6 years. And, this is another liberty issue that needs to be brought up, is that the state kind of discriminates against dads. And, having a positive, proactive thing, because here's what you're doing, is you're connecting with dads on just such a personal level, right? Instead of it being, hey, I'm meeting you at the courthouse because you're doing this, this, and this. You know what I mean? And now you have to go to jail because you owe child support, right? Yeah. You're being proactive in that. I think that's so important.
Yeah, exactly. Let's help these people and help me win this competition.
Yes.
There's going to be 3 piles there, one for each political party. And so please come by and put your diapers in the Urbanic pile.
Yes, I love it. Diapers are important.
So tell me so that's great. We got diapers for dads. It's going to happen and all that stuff. So some of the other things that I see, I'm a resident of Tokelahoma City, strong in the yards, yo. So one of the things that I feel that is one of the big issues of the city is the homeless.
Yes, and it's gotten worse over time, right? So we've had Mayor Holt for almost 4 years, and it seems like in those 4 years, the homeless problem has only gotten worse. And so we need to figure out why the homeless problem has gotten worse. Is there a magnet bringing them here? Are there people encouraging them to come here? So we need to figure out what those things are, and stop those to the best of our ability.
I know what something is. Holt closing down businesses, saying, hey, you can't work today, you can't feed your family. Now that family's homeless. So that definitely made that population even bigger.
Exactly. And, they tried to paint this lawsuit as late night drinking at bars. And I said in one of my arguments in front of the judge, I said, no, I had a dad there. I said, no, this is the dad who wants to pay for his family. Here's the mom here who wants to pay for food. And so there are people behind these businesses. Exactly. That's what everybody has to realize. And it goes all the way down. I mean, you have a restaurant. Well, it goes all
economy on that goes all the way to the farmer who grows
Yes.
the crops.
Agreed. Absolutely. And then the corporations are open and they're making all this money, and then the mom and pop shops are being hurt. And they just want to feed their family.
Right.
Essentials. They
Yeah.
term them
And you know, and
essentials.
here's the thing is where they get that from is the military, because we are a mission focused service. And so we have essential workers and non-essential workers. But here in your liberty, you know, your life, you don't get to decide, state, if I'm essential or non-essential, because if I'm trying to work to feed my families, then I'm essential.
Well, yeah, I was so disgusted by this concept of, oh, this is an essential worker, this is non-essential. I consider every business and every worker essential, and the person working that job certainly considers their job essential. And so to discriminate on that and it just be arbitrary is just so over the top, complete abuse of power, never should have happened. I think it's clear that with me as mayor, that will not happen again.
Yes, I agree. I'm here for it.
Well, you know, if somebody pays you a lot of money to say you're not essential, they'll certainly do that, which is what really happened there was they started to place their work ethic with monies from the public coffers, which we see right now today as let's go Brandon, hey! So some of the other ones that I love your city. I moved here 4 years ago. It's one of the greatest places I ever lived. The pothole situation is ridiculous though. I'm not our kind of pothole, but the driving through pothole.
And it's interesting you brought that up, and we had talked earlier before, and you hadn't brought that up, but everywhere I go, people bring up the roads issue. And honestly, before I started running, I mean, I knew the roads were bad, but it sounded kind of cliche to me. We're going to fix the roads. But seriously, people are actually interested in that because they experience it every day. And that's why I tie that into the streetcar. I'm going, we're paying $5 million a year, at least while it has the new streetcar smell, on this thing that nobody rides. But everybody uses the roads. At the very least, redirect that money, if we've already taken it from us, to fix the streets. And, of course, better off not take the money in the first place.
Reallocate those funds,
It
baby.
doesn't even go anywhere. It
It's
takes you like around the block.
Right. It's the streetcar to nowhere,
It looks
right?
pretty, I guess.
And as I like to say, because David Holt, he's a career politician, his suit is as empty as our streetcars.
They did a nice job on the convention center from what we were in there a couple weeks ago with the Oklahoma Cannabis Convention, which was really cool because we had the weeders downstairs, and then there was a seminar for police on health and mental wellness on the upstairs. And they were coming down and being like, do I have to give my name to come in here and that kind of stuff? And they agreed, like, we wish we could have cannabis rather than the Dannies or the Prozacs or whatever they give you when you say, I just seen 9 people get murdered and I feel a little weird today. You know?
Oh, yeah,
Well,
definitely.
let me tell you, in my work as a criminal defense attorney, which I have done other stuff, but that's been my primary focus, is I have never had somebody come in who's been charged with domestic violence and say, my wife and I, we were smoking so much weed, things got out of hand, and, here I am. But honestly, over 90% of the time, it's we were drinking alcohol, things got out of hand, and here I am. And I think law enforcement would agree on that. And I was really influenced by the book Marijuana is Safer, So Why Do We Drive People to Drink? And I
who wrote that book? Is that actually a
Yeah, it was the person who got recreational marijuana legalized in Colorado. That was kind of the platform that the plan that they used. But yeah, I think you'll find that with law enforcement is that whenever they come across somebody on marijuana, they're not violent, or they would much rather come across somebody like this than somebody who's drunk or on any other drug.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're
And we've
right.
seen them at the Chronic Palooza. Don't forget the Chronic Palooza at 420 or
423.
23, something
And
like
yes.
that later in there. So that's going to be really super awesome. But we have the Supersonic Chronic. She hires the police to come and be the security there, and they absolutely love it. As a matter of fact, it's the same crew because they asked to come back again because they never realized how fun it was to be able to work with weed.
Yeah. But it is.
You're just regular people like everybody else.
Exactly. We
There you
just
go.
want to.
So, well, we got to get it going. Frank's got a ton of campaigning to do, which the election kind of snuck up on me too. So we need to know exactly when we can vote and all that again, and you'll give it to that. So thanks so much for coming in, Frank. Give us a
Yeah, February 8th is election day. Early voting is the Thursday and Friday prior to that. You can also do mail-in voting. We're encouraging that because we all know what the weather's like here in February, so please at least do early voting if you're going to vote for me.
When you say mail-in voting, can I just like write it on a piece of paper and stick it in an envelope and send
No,
it in,
you
or how does
need
that
to go to the voter portal
Okay.
on the Oklahoma website. You can Google Oklahoma early voting.
Zane on the ones
It'll
and
take you
twos
there.
will put that right down there, Zane. We're gonna put that down there. Yeah, no. Yeah, we
So-
will, certainly.
We can drop it in the comments.
But yeah, to find out more about me or to donate, please go to frankurbanic.com.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you for coming in today. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
having
It's
you.
been fun.
There you go. And so, Tracy, you got anything on the way out? You got any
No.
shout out, Frank? Come on,
Yeah.
you've been on the road. You've been making it all happen here. Give us some shout outs to your crew.
I got to shout out to Moto. He's been incredible. Really got me on the right path. And also Daniel Capps at the Redneck Yacht Club. They just been an incredible supporter. Hosted many of our meetups for other events, and just him going.
And that's
around talking
because
to
you
people.
helped open his business back
I
up,
did.
right?
He was on another lawsuit.
Right. If I help you, you're going to help me, and that's what the community is, and that's what the state's afraid of.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping people realize is, hey, I'm the guy that opened up the bars and restaurants last year. People
You fought
know
the
what
state
I
for
did,
us.
but they don't know that I'm the one that did it. So that was me. I had your back then. Please have my back this time.
Yes.
There you
All
go.
right. Thank you.
There you go. Vote Frank. Thanks to my mom, Dave, made it all possible. Peace and chin grease. Good night, lovey. And don't forget to smoke weed every day. I'm Larry Reed, the man on weed, and we are out of here.